Can you really buy a house with just your tax refund? Let's find out. So the quick and dirty answer is yes, you can. Or no, you can't. Well, maybe. It is possible, and it's actually not as difficult as you would think. But there are a few key details we need to look at before you can decide if it's something that would work for you. First, and the most obvious is, well, how much is your tax refund? So when we look at buying a house, there's two main costs that we're gonna look at. One is the down payment, and number two is closing costs. Now let's just address the second one right off the bat, closing costs. These can be paid by the seller, and if you're in a market where there's not 2 or 3 offers on every single property, you have a lot more flexibility to ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. And even if you're not in a position where you have a lot of negotiating power, you can potentially increase the purchase price by maybe $10,000 or $15,000 to cover those closing costs, as long as your agent is confident that the home will still appraise at that new value. But let's talk about down payment now. There's actually a few different options, one of them being 0%. There are some limitations to that, but let's talk about everything first. The 3 lowest cost down payment options that we see generally are going to be your FHA loan at 3.5%. There is a conventional loan that does 3%, and there is a VA loan and a USDA loan that do 0% down. Now, obviously VA loan is only for veterans, but USDA applies to anybody as long as the property is located in an eligible area. That eligible area needs to be a more rural town, but it's really not as strict as you would think. Here in my county in Central California, our population is roughly 500,000 people, and there are quite a few of the towns in our county that do qualify for that USDA 0% down loan. If you just Google USDA map, it'll come up with a little interactive map where you can check out which areas qualify. VA, obviously, if you're a veteran, you would qualify for a VA loan. It is a huge benefit. You can utilize that. Or you have the options of 3% and 3.5% down payment if your tax refund is enough to cover those costs. So there you have it. That's how you can really buy a house with just your tax refund.